Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me today on this beautiful What If Wednesday is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter. It is Charlie O'Connor. What's going on today, Chuck?
Well, it's the calm before the storms, because apparently it's going to rain all weekend.
I thought that was yesterday.
No, we're getting more. Every
time I say, like, oh, the storm's today, people are like, no, it's like tomorrow, it's later. When is this?
Debbie's on the way.
That's outstanding. My mother-in-law, named Debbie, hates that this storm's named after her. Hates when people say, like, oh, you're being a Debbie Downer. She's like, but I'm the most positive person. Like, it's not about you. It's just, I love alliteration, like What If Wednesday, for instance. And that's what we're doing today. But yeah, we got a couple of things I want to talk about before we get into it today. The first of which, Charlie, a Flyers alum is on
Flyers legend, some might say.
Flyers legend, some may say.
Some may say.
Some may.
I would say. You would not, nor would Kelly.
He is one of the all-time Flyers leading scorers. Like, I think he still has the record for points in a season.
Sure does.
Mark Recchi let go by the Columbus Blue Jackets yesterday. He was on that shit show of a staff with Pascal Vincent after he took over for Mike Babcock, on the eve of training camp
the long-tenured Mike Babcock.
Mike Babcock.
The Babcock era in Columbus.
Who had a better time? Was it Frank Gore with the Eagles? Or
Dan Cleary with the Flyers?
Yeah, Shea Weber with the Flyers. So, listen, they bring in... Who the hell did they bring in Columbus?
What's that?
Who did Columbus hire as their coach now?
Oh, God.
I just had this written down. And
whatever, it's Columbus. Somebody in the comment section will
someone will remind us. But obviously they let go of Pascal Vincent at the end of the season, and it was like, well, we'll see about the rest of his staff. And while they are keeping one assistant, most coaches like to bring in their guys. And Mark Recchi not going
Dean
to be...
Evison.
That's who, yes.
The Minnesota guy.
Nailed it. Way to go. I'm so well researched. So Mark Recchi let go, and we got a tweet yesterday asking us when we think Mark Recchi will be. Yeah, there it is. How long until Recchi joins the Flyers? Now, on the bench, we know John Tortorella has his guys. Obviously, they've been with him for a few years. He's comfortable with them, but it's the Flyers. Mark Recchi, a former Flyer, former teammate of Keith Jones.
I have been told he did play for the Flyers.
Former teammate of Keith Jones. We've seen the new era of former Flyers have
era of former Flyers. That's a good way to describe it, actually.
To the front office. Yeah, we have Jonesy and Briere in charge. Leclerc's here. Patrick Sharp's here. We've seen the next wave of the former players. Let's say this power play ain't so great for the first month of the season. Any chance we get Mark Recchi? He was the last guy to run the power play from behind the net for this team.
I know very little about Mark Recchi's coaching ability. I gather that Columbus fans were not particularly happy with the work he did. That said,
their team stinks.
And basically that entire coaching staff was a shit show after the Babcock foolish hire.
Yeah, I don't know what anyone was.
Yeah, I don't know if Pascal Vincent's a good coach or not. I can't imagine holding that situation against him.
Yeah. No, it's there's a lot of times I think we go, the goalie had no chance. And maybe he did. I don't know goaltending well enough to tell you, but a lot of times I'm I don't know, what the hell is he supposed to do? That is a legitimate, what the hell was anyone supposed to do? Yeah. The assistant coach has to become the coach the eve of training camp because the guy who was supposed to be the head coach was having dudes over for lunch and then not serving them any food, just saying, let me look through your phone. All right, you can go.
Well, you got your phone.
And it got to the point where they had to fire him.
Yeah. It got so bad that it was leaked to Spit and Chicklets. Yes. Come on. What a complete and total mess.
A shit show. It's if Mark Recchi, as much as I make a bit out of not liking Mark Recchi, Kelly and I have told you many times, we were Phantoms fans growing up, and we loved Bill Barber, and it just seemed as if Mark Recchi kind of led the charge against Bill Barber as the head coach after the dude won at Jack Adams. Now, that said, a lot of guys we really liked were nah, this guy's a bad coach. We don't want him. like Keith Primo, maybe John LeClaire, maybe a lot of dudes who we really like were also in on this. But like, I've always just had a problem with Recchi because, like, God damn it, you won 3 cups. You've played twice as many games for the Flyers as you have like the 20 other teams you played for. But somehow you managed to win 3 cups elsewhere, including in Pittsburgh. What the fuck? Like, but
one thing I did find funny going through the mentions of, because Aaron Portzline was the one who reported that Recchi was losing his gig. It was very funny realizing that there are multiple fan bases that hate Mark Recchi. So Montreal fans hate Mark Recchi.
Really?
Because apparently there was one time, because this is all stemming from his time in Boston. Apparently there was one time where Max Pacioretty like took a hit and they I think what happened was the Canadians basically said that Pacioretty was seriously hurt because they were trying to get a suspension on, I believe, Zdeno Chara. And Recchi basically theorized that Montreal, that he wasn't actually injured, that they were faking it to try to get Chara suspended. And now Montreal fans call him Dr. Recchi as a result of that,
pretty funny.
which is funny. And then apparently,
I'm surprised they didn't have him arrested. Like the one time Chara didn't they open an investigation into Chara once?
Did they?
Montreal, like
they
their
would.
police force?
They
like,
would.
Because he like threw someone into the boards and their face hit like where the bench ends.
Oh, the stanchion. Yeah.
And like they were like, he did that on purpose. And I think at some point, like the Montreal, like the Mounties got involved or something.
Yeah. We're coming, now we're really going from Slapshot where the cops show up at the locker room door. And then I think Vancouver fans hate him. Number one, because he was on that Boston team that beat them in Game 7. Number two, because I think for whatever reason, they zeroed it on Recchi because Recchi like made fun of Vancouver after that. Like, you know what? You beat them in the cup final. You can make fun of them. Like we all made fun of them. But apparently Vancouver fans have not yet forgotten that. So there are multiple fan bases that despise Mark Recchi. And then there's you and Kelly Hinkle, who still hold a grudge against the guy.
For the dumbest reasons. Like, let me state that it is for stupid reasons. But if they were to bring him in, like, all right. I mean, the dude has a ton of experience. He is an all-time great flyer. He has won 3 cups. I don't know. Could be worse. I don't know what kind of coach he is.
It's a very Flyers thing to do.
Yeah, it would be. I have no idea. I didn't ask anyone. I don't have sources. I'm just a guy. I didn't ask you to ask anyone this, and I don't think you want to waste any time doing it.
I just think
it would not shock me, though.
What I'm interested to see,
especially in like a developmental role or something,
is whether Recchi is viewed by the Flyers club as part of the club.
That will be
because what you said is very true. That he spent a lot of time with the Flyers, has records, is a member of the Flyers Hall of Fame now, everything like that. But he did win all of his cups elsewhere. Do the diehard, do like the old school mainstays? Do they view Mark Recchi as part of their group, or is he an outsider? I'm not sure.
And this is just pure conjecture, but I do think it is telling that the Hall of Famers, because when Mark Howe got into the Hall of Fame, Ed Snyder said, all right, we are going to make exceptions for the Hall of Fame. You didn't win a title, but you're in the fucking Hall of Fame. You get your number retired.
Right.
And they did the same thing with Eric Lindros. Mark Recchi, now he did have 2 numbers here. Maybe that makes it a little more complicated. But Mark Recchi gets into the Hall of Fame, gets into the Flyers Hall of Fame, but his number is not on a banner.
It's a fair point.
That might be a little telling.
It's a little telling.
Like that
it's
could be like it could also just be logistical. Like which one?
Yeah.
Are we gonna? Is he Kobe? Does he get 2 numbers?
Is he Kobe?
Like,
he's definitely not Kobe.
You know, like, do we retire 2 numbers for this guy? Like that's not what. Like so maybe it's just something stupid like that. But I do think it is a little. How about that?
Look, with the way the Flyers are running their organization, you always have to keep an eye on when a former Flyer becomes available, because at the very least Jonesy's probably going to make a phone call.
Yeah. And that's those 2 did like directly play together. Yeah. LeClaire is here. They played together. So there are some connections. We'll see. I have no idea. But obviously it would not shock me. I saw this yesterday, Charlie, on the Bar Down, hockey account, their Twitter. And I kind of found it pretty interesting. A potential game between NCAA alumni and CHL alum. And what I found interesting about this is that like the CHL forwards, they have Crosby at 4C.
Yeah, that's
like
loaded.
the CHL forwards are just when you first read those matchups, it's like, Jesus Christ, they're going to win best of 7. It's going to be a mercy rule after 2 games. But then you look at the defense and goaltending, and it makes it a little more even. This is kind of a crazy, like, hey man, if you're one of the best scoring defensemen, go the college route. If you're going to put up 100 points, though, maybe go with the CHL. It's very odd.
There's probably an element to this of just random variance where this is just the way things have played out recently. But it wouldn't at all shock me if there is a logical explanation for this, which is probably, and this is a theory, it's not really possibly proven, but if you're a creative forward, you probably want to be in a league where your scoring talents and your offensive abilities are fostered. And the fact of the matter is that the CHL is, in my opinion, of a lower quality of competition than the college game. Because, okay, it's just, it's more wide open.
There's 16-year-olds
the players
out there.
are younger, a lot of them. And if you have that offensive creativity, there's just more space. There's more space for you to operate in the CHL because of just the way that they play and the types of players that are in that league. Whereas if you're a defenseman, you probably want to develop in the league or world, because I mean, college isn't really a league, it's conferences, it's an entire game. You want to develop in a game where you're going to be challenged, where you're going to be challenged to face off against bigger players, older players, and be taught and learn how to slow them down, to shut them down, how to produce in tougher situations. So I could easily see as a world where if we ever were to get a large enough sample to make truly a meaningful observation on this data, where defensemen maybe do develop a little bit better in the college game because they're being more challenged, whereas forwards develop a bit better in the CHL because their creativity is being fostered more than it would be in the college game. I could see that.
Yeah, it's just like, it makes sense to me. Like I said, there's in the CHL, like there's 16-year-olds out there. You know what they can't do? Check someone who works out as much as Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, exactly.
Like nothing, no chance.
Yeah.
Whereas, hey, if you want to not be thought of as like Shane Gostisbehere, like, yeah, you play Quinnipiac and they have like 30-year-old firefighters out there. Like, yeah, it's going to be, you're going to go into the corners with those guys. You're going to be in front of the net with those guys. It's just a little bit different. I just found it like, wow, that is a striking difference.
Whereas if you're a defenseman in the CHL, you maybe can rack up a ton of points and not actually play any defense. Like Travis Sanheim developed into a darn good defenseman. He's a solid top 4 NHL defenseman. Everybody I talked to when he was in the CHL, when he was at the Calgary Hitmen in the WHL, was basically like, yeah, like his numbers are great and the talent's there, the toolbox is great. When he turns pro, he's going to actually learn how to play defense because he has not been asked to do it. Like that was not even something he was asked to do in Calgary. It was like, you're a rover, just skate around and do cool stuff. And he was great at that. It was awesome. It was super fun to watch. But when he turned pro, he had to learn how to actually play the position of defenseman. And in college, I don't think anyone has that luxury of just being allowed to just run around and do crazy stuff. Like, if you try to do that against 25-year-old men,
you're getting scored.
You're going to get killed.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
Yeah, I just found all this. I just, more than like, oh, who would win this game? I don't know. Probably the team with Sidney Crosby at 4C.
I would
like,
pick that team.
I did think it was like such a stark difference between like the defense and goaltending of the NCAA and the forwards. I thought maybe you'd have a thought, and you did, Charlie. So thank you.
You got it.
Before we get to the crux of today's show, I do want to say, hey, if you've spent any time on Flyers Twitter, and God knows we all spend way too much time on it, but if you have, chances are you know of Johan Gartner. He got some pretty shitty news recently, and we all love Johan. If you just want to shoot him some good vibes, feel free. You can. I don't want to say what's going on because you can find out on Twitter for yourself.
It's a serious health issue.
It's a serious health
and
issue.
We're all rooting for Johan.
We all love Johan. Yeah. We've known him. Known him via Twitter for the whole time I've worked with you. Johan's been around. Like, he's been a part of Flyers Twitter for as long as I have.
For those who might be aware of him but don't know who he is the guy whose running bit is whenever something's good, when something good happens to the Flyers, he says he's going to take his pants off.
He's taking off his pants, yeah.
He's a very funny guy.
So just shoot some love toward... That's take off your pants, shoot some love. to Johan Gartner. That's a good way to make a serious thing not so serious. And hey, before we go any further,
we're thinking of you, Johan.
Yeah, we love you, Johan. Before we go any further, I got to tell you about our friends. Oh, yes. It might not be F around Friday, but you can choose chill like it is a Friday with our friends at Coors Light. Hey, between work, social media, life in general, the world around us, it's pretty obvious that we're all out of our minds, more worked up than ever. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn a rained-out barbecue into a karaoke house party? Or after a tough loss, settle scores with an ice-cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment. Listen, we're going to talk about the Flyers. We're going to have some what-ifs, and some of these what-ifs, you're going to be like, guys, just chill. See how it plays out. I realize that. But, yeah, I got a job to do. But every now and then, I do have to realize I need to choose chill, and there's no better way to do that than with an ice-cold Coors Light. So whether you're freaking out about, hey, how the coach and the superstar going to get along, what's going to happen with the captain, all that stuff, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies, because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, sometimes you just got to chill. Make the most of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And while we're here, oh yes, it's our boys at Ace Hardware. I love Ace Hardware. I told you recently. Air conditioning issue. Thought I was going to have to spend thousands of dollars in the heat of the summer because I'm not going to sweat. I'll tell you that. I kind of diagnosed the issue for them. They're like, hey, bring us this part. Let us just see what it looks like. Bring it over to them. They're like, yep, that's it. That'll be about $14. Dope. Thank you. Ace Hardware has it all. If you've got a leaky pipe, Ace Hardware Home Services, they're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. If you've got an air conditioner issue like I did, they've got a person for that. If you've got a faucet you said you'd fix last fall, they have a person for that too, because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home services and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, we're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project. All right, Charlie, now it's time for What If Wednesday.
What If Wednesday?
I get to it's basically a mailbag where I come up with the questions.
I love that.
And just propose hypotheticals for us to debate.
We're just giving you more and more power, basically.
It's really, honestly, I wish I could just make up the mailbag questions a lot of the time but that's basically what If Wednesday is. And I'm trying. It's so easy to come up with bad scenarios because it's the Flyers, man. Chances are ain't gonna go right.
That's where our minds naturally go to.
It's just it's been 50 years since they won a cup. Of course we're gonna think the bad thing's gonna happen. But I am trying when I come up with these to balance it between positive and negative scenarios, because there's going to be plenty of shit that goes wrong during the season.
Sure.
Why not think about things that could go well, too? So this first one, Chuck, what if this team makes the playoffs? A couple different scenarios for this.
I want to see where you're going with this.
Obviously, if it's like last year where the East just kind of sucks and they get a wild card, go, okay, cool. They're lucky to get 6 games out of a first round. But I'm going to go... because there's a difference, right? Just kind of sneaking in because everyone else is bad. Or say you're third in the division. Say it's the Rangers, Hurricanes, and you're not 20 points behind them, just lucky to be in. You're actually a decent enough team.
Right.
Should that change the timeline? Should it change how they attack this season? What if this team makes the playoffs? How would that change your perception of what they have going forward?
So I think for me, I actually went on the, I think it's the Getting Gritty With It podcast
I saw,
last night. Yeah, and they asked me a question somewhat similar to this, coming at it from a little bit of a different angle, but their question was more about what is the actual timeline? When are they going to make the pivot? And the point I made is that I think their plan is to make the pivot in 2026. I think that has always been their plan. That very much is in line with the original timeline for Michkov coming over in 2026. And okay, he gets here, we hit the gas pedal, we're going. I think that still holds. based on the the contracts, the retentions, some of the things that are coming off the books in 2026. That said, I think there's a scenario where if the Flyers do certain things this season, they could expedite that timeline. They could try to make the pivot next offseason instead. Making the playoffs would be part of that. But for me, it's not even just making the playoffs. It's making the playoffs in a certain way. Because if the Flyers, and I actually said this in our Discord a couple days ago when we were having one of our many conversations about the state of the Philadelphia Flyers, I said that the worst case scenario for me for the Flyers for next season is they are a bubble team and maybe even a playoff team. But they are a bubble team, playoff team that is carried by their depth, where no one takes a major step forward. Matvei Michkov scores 40, 45 points, has a perfectly acceptable rookie season, but nothing mind-blowing. And they make the playoffs because the East is weak and because they just wore teams down via their depth. Because to me, that outcome would suck for two reasons. Number one, it means they don't get the high pick. But number two, they still haven't gone anywhere towards solving their main problem, which is how do we get this team from being a mid-pack team to a top-tier team? The flip side of that, though, is if the Flyers make the playoffs because, let's say, 2 or 3 guys, and going through the lineup, these are the guys I'm looking at. Let's say Owen Tippett, Joel Farabee, Tyson Forster, Bobby Brink, and then on defense, Cam York, Jamie Drysdale, and I'll even add on in goal, Sam Ersson. 7, they were saying 7 guys I'm thinking of off the top of my head. If 2 or 3 of those guys take the leap from, hey, they're okay, to, oh man, they're like at Travis Konechny levels of impact on the ice on a nightly basis, and Matvei Michkov has a really good rookie year. If that happens, where suddenly then you've got a Michkov who very much looks like he's on a trajectory, a very quick trajectory to be a star, like a capital S star, really good. This season he goes out, he scores 70 points in 75 games. And you're like, man, that's him as a rookie. Holy shit, this dude's going to be a 100-point guy. And we're like, man, that's happening. And then you have Owen Tippett pops in 45, and Cam York scores 40 with sterling underlying metrics, and Jamie Drysdale replaces Sean Walker, and Joel Farabee looks like the guy from the first 50 games of the year, except all year, and the power play gets better, so he scores 70 points. Then you're thinking to yourself, I can deal with the fact that they didn't get a top 5 or top 10 pick because they might not need that much more help. Suddenly it's like, okay, trade for one more really good center, and we're cooking with gas here. If that's the scenario, then I'm thrilled. Then I'm like, get into the playoffs, freaking rules, and maybe use those 3 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders and the cap space that opens up, and go out there and get the guys you need and hit the gas pedal and let's friggin' go. If that's the case, making the playoffs is awesome, and it expedites this like crazy. If they make the playoffs because the East stinks again and everybody on the team pretty much is just what we expect they're going to be and nothing more, then that's a bummer. And then I'm honestly disappointed with how the season went, even if they get to the first round and lose in 6. I'm still how does this help the future?
It really does depend on, if it's, Ottawa and Buffalo, they're both still lost.
Yeah, they're both still bad.
Jersey, they had a bunch of injuries again. And Washington and Pittsburgh are just exactly what we think they are, mediocre at best.
Or if another one of the teams that we're if
Detroit stinks,
Tampa falls off a cliff, or Boston falls off a cliff, teams that we're expecting to get in, a couple of those pull the jersey and just out of nowhere stink. And the Flyers take advantage because John Tortorella gives this team a high floor because he's just going to make sure they don't make the mistakes that everybody else does. If they sneak into the playoffs like that, I'm like, well, shit, now I don't know where this is going. But if they get into the playoffs because 2 or 3 of their mid-tier guys with plausibly high-end upside take steps and Matvei Michkov has a hell of a rookie year, then it's a big year for the Flyers.
That's I think there's 3 things. 1, Michkov closer to being the guy than you would expect from a 19-year-old.
Right.
Yes, we believe him to be, maybe he should have been the 2nd pick and we got him at 7, but fact remains, he's a 19-year-old coming to a whole new side of the world.
We still need to see it.
Yeah, like we need to see him do this in the NHL. But maybe he's just that sort of prodigy where he comes in and boom, it's all good. And like you said, 70 points. Dope. At least one of Frost or Couturier seriously beats last year's production.
Yeah.
Because then that would mean, like, is either one of them a 1C? No. But like we talked about last week with the, what if Frost has 70 points? Well, 2C's taken care of. Because in my mind right now, they need 2 centers.
Yeah.
But if it's only one, that seems a whole lot easier. And then like maybe Jet Luchenko is that guy. Maybe
in
the future. In the future. That's still years away.
But no, if you are suddenly, if this time next year we're looking at a Flyers team that has like, we're looking at Morgan Frost as 2CA and then Sean Couturier as 2CB.
Exactly.
Where like Frost does the offense and Couturier does the defense while also scoring you 55, 60 points. Then you're like, yeah, none of those guys is a first line center, but you get that guy. And then suddenly,
Boom,
the center depth looks great.
Yeah. Third thing, and this is probably the one that we know the least about, and as we say all the time, has the most outsized impact.
Goaltending.
If Ersson or Fedotov is absolutely really good.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Sorokin that sort of good. I'm just saying like 9-13, 50 starts for Ersson, and he doesn't have those. He doesn't have an abundance of, oh yeah, he let 3 goals in the first 5 shots. Like if he doesn't have an abundance of those and just finds the consistency he had prior to having to play 28 out of 30 or whatever the hell it was, like if those things fall into place, because I expect the wingers to be pretty good. Like,
yeah, I do too.
Well, I think we're going to get to your Farabee article tomorrow, but even him, like, all right, I'm putting him down for 20, and if it's 30, well, okay, great,
right?
You know,
right.
And we're gonna get, but like I'm expecting basically all 3 sets of wingers to be pretty good. How good? We'll see if they take big steps or if it's just kind of continuing what they did. But last year they were all pretty good for the most part. But it will come down to, I think, at least one of those 2 centers, Michkov and the goaltending.
See, here's the one thing I will say, though, about the goaltending, where I'll disagree with you to a point. What would, like, look, if Sam Ersson comes out this season and kills it, and he establishes himself as the clear-cut number 1, he's, 920 save percentage, we're like, oh my God, we're all Ersson persons and all that shit. Like, this is great. Everything's awesome. That will be exciting. The one thing that would worry me a little bit about that, and again, this doesn't have to be the way it plays out, but like a goalie performing way above expectations can paper over a lot of flaws. Yeah. And if the Flyers make the playoffs next year because Sam Ersson has an incredible season, like 920, 925 save percentage, Connor Hellebuck style, that will be really cool, and that will obviously adjust our view of Sam Ersson. Then suddenly it's like, well, shit, maybe they have the next Swedish great goalie, and that's a big piece to have. But I would worry a little bit of like, okay, if the skaters don't take steps and the only person that took a step is Ersson, then if this isn't real Ersson, if this is just him having his big year and then he regresses back into being like a 905 a year guy, then that's concerning too. Then it would be like, okay, are we putting all of our eggs too much in the Ersson basket?
And that's why, to me, yes, if he's in the Vezina conversation, chances are that's not who he is, because it's not who like any goalie is. Right. Like there's only like 3 or 4. There's only like 3 of those guys. Exactly. Yeah. Like if it's just he's consistently good, like he's a 913 goalie, where it's like well above average.
He's 905, even if, like given the fact that scoring is up so much,
scoring is up and save percentages are down.
If he's between 905 and 910, that's fine.
Yeah,
that is a fine starting goalie at the NHL level in 2024.
Definitely. Like if he's just consistently good and the team has to perform in front of him,
sure, then
like, yeah, good goaltending does paper over a lot. But if that's your guy, that's an element of your team. Sure. That's something I think we forget about. Like, or it's just the goalie carrying him. Yeah, man, he gets paid.
He's on the team.
Like he's on the team, and for at least one more year after this year, he makes nothing. Yeah. So like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like that's my what if for what if this team makes the playoffs? It depends on how they do it.
I think that's the baby. It depends on how.
Yeah, like if it happens the way where it's real, like because you can make the fucking Washington made the playoffs last year. They stunk.
Yeah, everybody
they were
knew
a
it.
bad team, and everyone knew it.
Yeah.
They knew it.
They knew it.
Right?
They traded people at the deadline.
They sold at the deadline.
The Flyers traded one guy. The Caps traded like 4.
Yeah.
They traded Kuznetsov.
Yeah.
Now I know he wasn't playing when they traded him, but like they could have taken him back.
If you have the Islanders, and like listen, in the years leading up to last year, Islanders had decent little run, but like they had 16 or 19 overtime losses. Like, yeah, if it's fake, that's a whole different story. But if they are closer to first in the division than fourth, and they're in that mix in the top 3, then you start to change the timeline a little, and then it is, okay, well, what do we actually need? Because it looks like we've checked a lot of boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be good.
I think that is something that, and I wouldn't consider myself to be an optimist, but I do think that the pessimists rule that possibility out too quickly. That, yes, you look at this roster right now and you say it doesn't have enough talent.
Doesn't.
But if 2 or 3 of the guys on the roster take big steps, suddenly, they still probably need a little bit more talent, but they don't need as much as it seems like they need right now.
And I think, again, we'll get to Farabee tomorrow, but your point, like, well, what if Farabee's stuck on the third line? Well, if he's producing like a second liner and he's getting the power play time, and that's not, the worst we've ever seen. If this power play is just a little better, I'm considerably better for it to be even
better.
For it to even just be bad and
just
not the worst.
Get up to 5 percentage points, and they're still in like 28th.
They're still bottom 4. But if these things come together, it's like, well, that's what do we talk about all the time? If your third line is better than the other team's third line, you're probably pretty good.
Exactly.
And that would be a good thing. Like if Bobby Brink and Joel Farabee make up that tandem of wingers on that third line, but they produce it near second line level, that means that the team is good.
Exactly.
Like that's a good problem.
And it's not like $5 million is that much, and it's going to seem less and less as the cap keeps going.
In 2 years, $5 million will seem like not very much.
Exactly.
All right. The next what if we have, I did have to swing it back to the negative because it's a legitimate possibility, and I think the answers are interesting. And we have said before, there's a really good chance these two see a lot more eye to eye than we think.
Yeah,
even though it's
is.
Michigan guy versus, ooh, get off my lawn guy. Like there's a chance that their personalities click more than we think they could.
Their competitiveness could actually work great together.
But what if Matvei Michkov and John Tortorella clash? And by clash, I don't mean like, he needs to commit a little bit more to defense, but I like what I like. No. What if
they hate each other?
Game 3? What if Game 3, Michkov isn't in position to block a shot, and then he does not see the ice for the next 58 minutes? That sort of thing. A few scratchings, some screaming matches. Like the worst case scenario, John Tortorella. What if they clash?
Well, I think we'll find out 2 things if they clash, and 2 things that I don't know the answer to, really. But we'll find out the answer real quick. First thing we're going to find out the answer to is just how committed is Danny Briere to the John Tortorella experience. Because it's very easy for Briere to back Tortorella when he's giving Morgan Frost shit. And even when he's giving Sean Couturier shit. Because, like, in the end, what's Couturier going to do? Like, you can't
You're
trade him.
signed forever, guy.
You're signed forever and you can't
You're
trade him.
completely untradeable.
So it's like, all right, like, yeah, this is embarrassing, but we'll handle it. We'll get through. If Tortorella and Michkov just hate each other, it is going to be fascinating to see which side Danny Briere falls on, because Briere has multiple times over the course of the last month or so has noted that he's excited for John Tortorella, Coach Michkov. He thinks Michkov will be a better player 3-4 years down the road for having John Tortorella coach him for 1 or 2 or however many seasons he does. He thinks Michkov will benefit from that long term and be a better player. So there will be part of Briere who wants to back Tortorella. There will be the other part of Briere, though, who will be like, oh, God, like my entire tenure, the success and failure of this tenure is based on, more than anyone else, Matvei Michkov. And if Torts screws this up, we're all losing our jobs. So it'll be very fascinating to see just how wedded Danny Briere is to the John Tortorella experience if those two really clash. That's number 1. Number 2, and this is also something I don't know the answer to, just how wedded is Matvei Michkov to the idea of making it work in the NHL? Because if Michkov and Torts clash, Michkov could very easily play the I'll just go home card. I don't know if he will. Maybe he really is just going to be like, nah, I want to be an NHLer. It's my dream. I want to win the cup. And I am not even going to go down that road because you all know I'd be full of shit anyway. I'm not going to do it. But I don't know. But I don't know if he would do well, if the coach fucking hates me and I got benched for a week, then I'll just leave. Like, if he plays that card, then it's really going nuclear. I hope he wouldn't. I hope we don't get to the situation because I hope they are lovey-dovey and think the world of each other. But I don't know if Michkov would be willing to go that far and go nuclear. I don't know.
We saw it as a threat with Sergei Bobrovsky. He eventually gets traded.
Yeah.
We saw it actually play out with original Eric Gustafsson. He never came back.
It's true.
He just, you know what? Fuck this. You played Hal Gill. I'm out of here.
It's true.
It would be very interesting. I don't think it's going to go that
I don't
road.
think it is either.
I think John Tortorella won, it's been a while since he's accomplished really anything. And he talked about, and listen, winning one Stanley Cup, my God, if we had a coach who won a Stanley Cup in 2004, I'd still want him to be the coach. It's been a while, and he talked so much about, it's my goal to restore the Philadelphia Flyers to that level that they're, how they're referred to as the original seventh team. I want that again. All right, let's see then.
Yeah.
Let's see how willing you are to make it. And we have seen him come around, whether it's the Vinny LeCavalier example or even something small like Travis Konechny, where it was Konechny and Kevin Hayes appear to be on the same path here. And then maybe a little give on one side and a little take on the other.
Yeah, one guy took the road less traveled, and it made all the difference.
Konechny made it work, and Tortorella made it work with him, even though it's Jesus is fucking... you can still see it. He's this guy, Jesus. But with Kevin Hayes, it was just nah, ain't going to work.
Yeah.
We'll see how willing each side is to make it work,
and then we'll see how willing Danny Briere is to put his finger on the scale one way or the other.
Looking at Briere... did he draft Cutter? No, but if he had another guy to lean on, it'd be at least we still have this guy. Cutter's gone. Jamie Drysdale, we have no idea what he is. Maybe he's a boat, but we don't know. He hasn't acquired that defenseman yet. He hasn't acquired that 1C yet. Everything depends on Michkov at this point.
Yeah, it does. It does.
How is he going to handle that? I think that might be the most interesting part of this, is how Briere would handle a rift between these two guys.
I agree. I totally agree that is the most interesting thing.
The best coach in the world gets fired.
Yeah.
You get rid of him. That's how you handle it.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting, from a GM's perspective, the most advantageous thing would have been, and listen, from a business perspective, Michkov here now is better than Michkov here in 2 years. But we've talked about, all right, you have a player now in his prime at 22, 23, 24.
On an ELC.
Right. And considering what this team has to do to acquire a 1C and maybe some defensemen too, that would be helpful. It's like the quarterback on the rookie deal. We can spend on everything else. Cool. Yeah. That would be very helpful. You have Michkov now. He's going to be developing on his ELC, not in his prime. That's okay, yeah, we have him. That's cool, but it would have been nice the other way. But the GM gets to go, but he's going to be better because of this.
Yes, that's the case he's making.
He's going to be better because of this. Yeah. How committed to that idea are you? And then on Michkov's half, do you think he's going to make you better? Do you think this is making you better? Because if you don't, you're going to go, trade me to the fucking Rangers. I'm going to go play with Panarin.
Or you're going to go,
I'm going home.
You're going to go to Briere and you're going to say, fire this guy.
Yeah.
And then we're going to see. Because, I'm thinking back to, and again, this is a what if. I personally, if you hook me up to a lie detector, I think they're going to work pretty well. I think they're going to clash. I think Torts will probably scratch him for a game or bench him. That's going to happen. But I think ultimately they're going to work pretty well. But I'm thinking back to the Torts LeCavalier situation where the owner of the team basically had to put them in a room and be like, I'm not firing you. I'm not trading you. Figure it the fuck out. And Briere is going to have to show, if this is the way it plays out, he's going to have to show that he has the stones to do that, to tell two extremely hard-headed people, extremely competitive people, You're not getting your way, and you're not getting your way, so you got to learn how to coexist. I hope Briere, if it were to play out that way, I hope Briere has the stones for that. Truthfully, even if it doesn't play out that way, I hope Briere has the theoretical stones to do that, because that's what you need to have in order to be a successful NHL GM.
And absolutely. And that's I'm just thinking, remember, and now this is back in the days when like we loved these players so much and they could be anything, including superstars. Didn't work out that way, but they're both pretty good. When Dave Haxtell scratched TK and Shane Gostisbehere, and it was a shitstorm.
Yeah.
Neither of these guys are Matvei Michkov.
No.
And John Tortorella is, I don't know, 150% the like storm conductor that that Dave Haxtell was.
Oh, yeah.
What is going to happen? Because
I can tell you one thing that's going to happen. We're going to get like 10,000 views on the show.
Oh, my God. Yes. Oh, no. Like, that's part of me, like the content creator, but like, am I more a fan than a yes.
Yes.
I want Matvei Michkov to play 82 games. The chances of his stat line reading 82 games played at the end of the season are what? Like 15%? He's getting scratched for one game at least.
I don't know if I would say. I think it is like 70% that he gets like benched for a period or two.
Okay.
Like I think that is going to happen.
Oh, yes.
Whether he gets scratched fully, I personally think it's going to happen just because, like, it's Torts, and of course he's going to do something crazy like that. But at the very least, he's going to get benched for a period for doing something
He
stupid.
sat his second leading scorer for 30 minutes in a game that you had to score. Like, he's absolutely going to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing how that whole situation plays out. I think we can get another one in here before I have to do more reads. This one I just threw in because I was just thinking about it. Like, we don't talk about the defense too much in these, but what if Travis Sanheim reverts back to every other year Sanheim? Now, there is a reason. He is a two-time and could have really made a case for three-time most improved player, and it's because consistency has been a real issue for him from season to season. Last year, clearly the best full year of his career. What if he goes back to being the guy he was 2 years ago? Like, what does that mean for this team long term?
No, I think unless either Cam York or Jamie Drysdale takes a massive step forward, what it means is that they're not making the playoffs. Like, straight up. If Travis Sanheim stinks this year, they're not making the playoffs because the defense is already like a question mark with him.
What is it?
With him as a first pair defenseman quality, which is what he was last year. He's probably like a number two. Like that was the value that he provided, the value of a number two defenseman. If he is back to providing the value of like a replacement level defenseman, I don't know if they have anybody who can take that role. So they're going to miss the playoffs. I don't think it's any more straightforward than that.
I just saw this, so I have to go back from Ed right here. If I pay to go to a game and Michkov gets benched for the second and third period, Torts is getting fucking tomatoed.
I love that word.
If I'm
fucking tomato,
like, if I'm Danny, I'm like, listen, John, I know you're gonna have to be a dick. Can you do it on the road? We have 41 of these things that don't happen at home.
Yeah.
If he fucks up at home, can you bench him the next game?
Yeah, but the problem is that he can't bench him in his hometown.
Luckily,
he can't. He can't do it. He probably wants to so bad.
He's like, can we play a game in Moscow? Begging for an international game.
Yeah,
like,
right.
John, we're not allowed to go to Russia. I don't give a shit. Like, you know how we're bringing his family? Let's fly his family in, and I'm benching
him for that game.
John, we paid for them to come. That would be all right. So yeah, if the Sanheim situation is so complicated because now he's got the no trade. I guess like John Tortorella can make any situation. Wow, you think you want to stay here? But like that situation itself where like he would have to go and be like, you need to get me out of here. I feel like I'm in prison. Like that's how it would have to go if Sanheim wasn't any good. But I don't believe Sanheim to actually be a first pair defenseman. Like not on a good team.
I think he's in that borderline 2-3 range where on a great team he's probably number 3.
I see him as a Yeah, I guess, like, is Matt Carl a first pair defenseman? No, but guess what? He played with Chris Pronger, so he was.
Yeah.
So I guess Travis Sanheim could be like that.
Yeah.
But to me, he's more of the, yeah, man, you put him and Tiemann in together, he could be Coburn. Like, he's a
I'm 100% with you.
He's the
100% with you.
Well, regardless of what pair he's on, he's the other guy on that pair, and he could be very good in that role.
I disagree a little bit. I think he can be the lead on a second pair. He definitely can't be the lead on first pair.
No, I like
if you're trying to win anything meaningful.
On a good team, I think he could play a role, but I would want someone in a top 4 pairing better than him paired with him. Maybe that's Cam York. Maybe. Cam York had a real strong finish to the season. Yeah. Maybe those two as a second pair moving forward is completely fine. But yeah, it's if he just never, because what is he now? 28? Like,
yeah, I think he's 28.
If he's not, if
just
he
got
doesn't
married this weekend.
Oh, congrats,
Travis.
Man, both Travi. Family men.
I know. Well, see, Sanheim has always, like, he always screamed family man to me. Like, he just has that, like, mature, like, I've got my shit together vibe. The fact that Travis Konecny had kids, yeah. Wild. That's still wild. Like, he has matured. But, like, he's always going to be that, like, ball of energy bouncing around the room. He's, like, a mature family man now.
While Konecny is just, like, the crazier of the two. Like, they both, I still think of them as young kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, no, like, yeah, they're late 20s. Like they got drafted 10 years ago. Like it's been a while.
Sanheim actually did get drafted 10 years
2014,
ago. 2014. Yeah.
Now, but if Sanheim goes back to that inconsistent, yeah, had a good year last year. Remember that? Like if that's him again,
good times.
That is now a real issue, especially given the contract you signed him to. Like that's. I don't want to say terrifying because there's ways around it, but fuck, are we gonna have to buy this guy out? Like, what is the solution? Mm-hmm. There's not an easy one. There's not an easy one to that one.
I'm expecting him to at least be good. Maybe next season he doesn't quite reach the heights of like first half Sanheim where he was taking 25 minutes a night and looking real good doing it. But I'm expecting him at least to be good. I think he's reached an understanding with Tortorella about the way they have to interact and the way he plays. He's playing more aggressive. It seems like he's embraced this right side of the defense kind of thing. So I'm expecting him to be good. But you can never rule out the possibility. I mean, look at Scott Lawton last year. Just randomly stunk at 5-on-5 for no real reason other than, it was just a shit year, I think.
We'll see. Yeah.
That could happen to Sanheim. You never know.
Sure. I just now seems like the time if he doesn't find that consistency. And with Tortorella and Shaw, you better. Yeah. This is it, man. This is where we really see what you are.
Yeah.
This is the height of your prime. If it's not now, then you're just this guy. You're just some guy who's never going to be consistent.
Not wrong.
Listen, we're all driven by the search for better. This is the Indeed read. Sorry, Bree. We're all driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search, it's to match. And you got to match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global visitors monthly and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. You can ditch the busy work and use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. Listen, hiring, it's never been my thing. I know it's difficult because I did help run a restaurant for a while. My buddy running it, owning it. It was a real issue, just trying to find quality people who you knew you could count on and could get the job done, who had the qualifications we needed. And that's where you got to turn to something like Indeed. It's impossible to know everything. And that's where Indeed comes in because they can leverage over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, which makes Indeed's matching engine constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. And while we're here, oh, you know I love me some FOCO, because FOCO has the absolute best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms. Whether it's hoodies, jackets, beachwear, even overalls, there's something for fans of almost every occasion. Listen, man, look, it's summer now. Maybe you need your beachwear. You're still looking for the shorts, board shorts, all that stuff. But what's right around the corner? Football, tailgates, plus hockey, basketball, all that stuff. You got to get it at FOCO. And maybe you're in the market for some accessories, toys, or collectibles for your man cave, she shed, or podcast set. You've got to use FOCO for all those needs as well, because FOCO always has our back for Philly sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in the description of our show. And for all non-presale items, use promo code PHLY10 for 10% off. That's PHLY10 for 10% off at FOCO today. FOCO, do it. Go to FOCO. FOCO.
Do it.
I just really like. We can't say just do it.
That's fair.
I don't think you're allowed to use that.
Yeah, that's fair. Good point.
But yeah, everyone. I just love to say FOCO. Honestly,
It's a fun word.
This isn't
good company. Fun
this
word.
isn't a this isn't a what if. This is now a would you rather, Charlie.
Okay.
The Sean Couturier one, I just don't know what direction I want to take it. And we just did 2 negatives in a row. Like, my question I have is just, what if Sean Couturier?
What if Sean Couturier?
I don't know. Like, it could go anywhere.
Could.
Even be a boat.
Could even be about.
Would you rather sign York to the Sanheim contract right now, or sign Forster to the Tippett contract right now?
Aren't they the same contract?
A little different.
What is it? I know Sanheim is 6.25, right?
I thought Sanheim was in the 7s.
I believe Sanheim was 6.25. Because doesn't Sanheim have the same deal as Ryan Ellis?
I don't remember.
Let us see.
But check out the old Puckpedia.
Check that. But to answer your question,
Sanheim is 6.25. So yeah, it's the same as Ryan Ellis.
And then isn't it the same as the Tippett contract?
Tippett is 6.2.
6.2. Okay, so almost the same.
Yes.
Okay, so Tippett is 8 times 6.2. Sanheim is 8 times 6.25. Okay, so basically the same contract. So really what this comes down to is, who do you believe in more, Tyson Forster or Cam York? It's a good question. I believe in Tyson Forster more.
I thought you were going to go
I do believe in Tyson Forster more. I don't think I could very plausibly see a path where Cam York is a play-driving top 4 defenseman. He very much was that by the numbers in his rookie year, his first full rookie year. And then last year he was given tougher minutes. I feel like he passed the eye test a little bit better last year. The numbers weren't quite as good, but we're still fine. I could very much see a scenario where he becomes a really good play-driving top 4 defenseman. I am unconvinced he's ever going to score that much at the NHL level as a defenseman. I have not seen anything yet to tell me that he can be a dynamic offensive weapon from the back end at the NHL level. Whereas with Forster, I see a guy who very much could be a play-driving weapon up front and can score you 30-plus goals a year. I see that in him in a way I don't see it in York. So I would be more willing to give that deal to Forster before I give it to York, personally.
That was my answer as well. I like what I saw out of Cam York in the second half. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to pay defensemen, I need offense. Yeah. I realize that may sound ridiculous to some, but you get paid for points in this league. And Cam York, to this point, his 3 years, he scored 10, 20, and 30 points. Sorry, that's not enough. That just simply isn't enough to warrant getting paid. And yes, once they have a power play that is competent, not the worst thing you've ever seen, maybe he can pitch in there.
But I don't know if he's on a power play.
If
the power play gets good, is he on that power play?
That is the other part of this.
Presumably Drysdale's on one unit.
Hopefully. Jamie Drysdale is the power play 1 guy, or they draft someone who's awesome.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's Jamie Drysdale as of right now. And then who's power play 2? How much does power play 2 even score?
Exactly.
How much do they even play?
Yeah.
If Matvei, Michkov, and Jamie Drysdale are killing it, I want them to getting minute 15, minute 20,
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's ever, like you said, to this point, he's shown nothing that he's able to score. He looks pretty damn good. Yeah. He looks better than I thought. Makes maybe the decision to draft him over Cole Caulfield at least a question. Maybe it's not the disaster we thought it was.
They might have made the right pick.
They may have made the right pick. Yeah. But
especially when you add in the fact they also got Brink out of it.
yes, but I have no reason to believe he's ever going to be a 50-point defenseman.
So do you want me to give you an interesting little hot take here?
Yes.
While I absolutely would say that I would give that deal to Tyson Forrest before I gave it to Cam York, I think I would give that deal to both of them.
Really?
Yeah, I think I would.
Interesting.
I think I would take the risk and give the 8 times 6.2, 6.25 deal to both of them, banking on both of them being legit and the cap going up dramatically over, because like you're basically paying for their age 20 years. Like by the time they turn 30, the deal's basically done. You're getting them for their prime years, and I would be banking on like one of the two breaking out. And even if they don't, I'm still probably coming out ahead over the long term. I'm paying a little bit more now to get a big savings down the road when I hope the Flyers are contenders.
Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now or a lot later.
I forgot about that tagline.
That was always,
so when I was a kid,
that was always on Raw, Monday Night Raw.
So when I was a kid, I was a diehard. I still follow it, not as closely as I was younger. I was a diehard NASCAR fan. And Fram advertised all the time during races.
Yeah.
Napa, we keep America running.
Yeah.
That was on all the time. But Fram was an every other commercial break.
Probably a lot of crossover on advertisers between pro wrestling and NASCAR, if I had to guess.
Oh, yeah.
Probably a pretty big...
I think you're probably right.
Probably a pretty big Venn diagram there. Yeah, I do. Would you... Because this was a thing a couple of weeks ago on Twitter, I remember, between like people who were like, just sign them to these long-term deals now. Would you do it at this very moment or make them like earn it and do it in season or even when their contracts are up at the end of this year?
I guess you could. It's an interesting question because they're both... They both can be signed now, right?
Yes.
They're both in that last year of the current
both
contract.
become RFAs July 1, 2025.
Right. It's a good question. I would give it to them now.
I would, honestly, especially Forster, because what if he scores 35 goals?
But then there's you're basically doing it out of fear that one of them breaks out this year. I hope that they do. That would be really cool. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. But yeah, I would probably give both those guys those deals now.
I would, just because, like, I think it's dumb for especially Tyson Forster to do that. Like, if he's going to... And, like, man, Cam York's going to play first pair of minutes again. Like, maybe it's dumb for both of them to sign it right now. Why would you sign away your prime before your huge year? Like, and because it's dumb for them to sign, I think it makes then it makes sense for the team to do it.
But by the same token, if Cam York is just a 30-point a year defenseman, and he never, like, if he just is what he is, which is a perfectly solid top 4 defenseman who scores 30 to 35 points a year because he never has the offensive ability, then maybe it makes sense to get the deal now. So, yeah, I do agree that the players probably are thinking, I want to bet on myself because I think I have another gear, because players always believe that. They have to if they're professional athletes. That said, you throw a guy that much money, 8 times 6, upwards of $50 million in guaranteed money, it's hard to turn down.
It definitely is, and we see it because, like, these dudes sign it all the time, and it's like, what are you doing, bro? But I think it just makes so much more sense to do, like, almost the Travis Konechny route, like, bank on yourself still being good at 29. Like,
yeah, I think that it would be risky. Like, there is absolutely an element of risk there in terms of if the Flyers were to do what we are saying, like sign both these guys to long-term deals in the like $6 million a year-ish range. That's risky because if one or both of them just flop, then you've got albatross contracts. The way I'm looking at it, though, is that if this is going to work, and by this, I mean like the rebuilding plan, if this is going to work, those are two guys that need to pan out.
Yeah. So
why not commit to them now?
Especially
because if they stink, then this whole thing is flopping anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a pretty good point too. Before we wrap up today's show, I just want to say thank you to all our PHLY diehards and diehards throughout the All-City community. We could not do what we do here without our subscribers. Our diehards are the lifeblood here at PHLY. And if you want to become one, go to allphly.com, sign up to be a diehard, and you can get things like what we're going to talk about tomorrow, Charlie's Joel Farabee season review, as he puts out his basically complete list of season reviews for the whole roster.
That came out today, so you can read it today in anticipation of the show tomorrow.
All right. Do we have...
Yes, I saw someone ask in the chat, Kelly Hinkle is going to be on the show tomorrow.
Kelly is scheduled.
I think she just might be on the show Friday, too.
Kelly is scheduled for Thursday and Friday. So we are very much looking forward to those shows. Do we have any super chats, Bree? No super chats. Outstanding.
No super chats.
All right. So it's 1:59. That's it. Wow. This might be the first one this summer we get done at exactly 2:00. This is pretty wild. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Just search, I almost said Broad Street Hockey. Just search PHLY Flyers wherever you get your podcasts, and boom, you'll get them right there. Make sure you follow us right here on YouTube. Set those reminders. We'll be back tomorrow and Friday at 1 p.m. Make sure you never miss a live show by setting those reminders. And follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. All right, that'll do it. My name is Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Until tomorrow, you stay loose and sexy, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.